Excited to have you here, Yaniv. I'm going to tell folks a little bit about you. You are a guy that I look up to and admire, and over this course of our time together, hopefully that'll show why. All right, Yaniv Rosenberg, head coach and owner of Yaniv Rosenberg Jiu-Jitsu team, founder of the No Excuses program, and this is the journal, right? The Challenge Journal,
Challenge Journal
that you have.
Yes,
No Excuses podcast, you run that, and you are a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I can vouch for this, a hand-to-hand combat expert, a mindset and lifestyle coach, and the owner of Hang Loose Investments. And the website is yanivrosenberg.com. That's Rosen with an S, R-O-S. And they call you the life changer. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
One thing I didn't talk about, but it is important to you. You're a happily married man. You have a great relationship with your wife, it seems.
Yes.
And you've got how many kids? 5?
5 kids.
How's that?
It's a handful. Stoked about it. I love my kids to death. And I pushed them. In every way I can, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So this way, are we allowed to curse over here?
You do whatever. You be you. And I didn't expect you here with either sleeves on or a clean mouth.
So my ultimate goal for my kids is that they don't turn out to be pieces of shit. You know, I've been coaching kids and adults for over 20 years, and I've seen it all. And I've seen kids that are pieces of shit because they don't have the right parents, they don't have the right guidance. And I see adults that are pieces of shit because they didn't have the right guidance and the right parents. So I see what they've done wrong and make sure I don't make the same mistakes. And I see wherever they had flaws, that I make sure that I'm on top of that so I don't slip and my kids end up in the same situation.
And how does somebody who's been practicing those bad habits, they didn't have the leadership, they didn't have the guidance, let's call it a 30-year-old man, how does he start turning that around?
So the first thing you have to do as a man is realize, again, not to curse too much, but that your life fucking sucks. You know, that you are a piece of shit. You're not an asset to society. You're not contributing anything. And I always talk about the results speak for themselves. So if you see that you're waking up happy, you're going to sleep easy, you're not using drugs, you're not drinking, you attract other people to you, you look good, you feel good, well, guess what? Then you're doing the right thing. You look at your bank account and you have money in your bank account. You're like, okay, I'm doing something right financially. The other day, my oldest son, he's like, oh, Dad, you think you know it all. And he's like, you think you're perfect at everything. I said, no, son. I said, I don't think I'm perfect. I think I'm fucking exceptional, motherfucker. And
How old's that son?
He's going to be 18. And so he goes, what? I was like, hold on. And I take my phone and I pull up my credit score. It's like 815 or something. And he goes, wow. I said, you don't fucking get an 815 credit score by being a piece of shit. Right? You pay your fucking bills. You pay things off. You show up early, like we had our podcast. I'm here half hour early, right? Your character is going to speak for itself. So once you want to change, you just have to look in the mirror and say, and do like a checks and balances. Like, where is my flaws? Am I fat? Don't wear a baggy shirt. Wear a tight shirt so you get fucking pissed off. Say, I can't stand myself. You have a shitty marriage. You know what I mean? Don't pretend like everything is happy. Confront it. Don't be afraid of the fight with the wife. Whatever it is, wherever you're lacking, confront yourself, be real, and then start getting to work.
So you talked about a wife. If you're well married, that's like a cheat code kind of. It helps you have a better life, right? If you have a great wife, supportive, you guys are good friends. How do you do that? How would you suggest for your kids, your boys, to pick a good wife?
A wife or a husband. It's really irrelevant, whoever you want to marry. If you're a daughter, you're looking for a husband. A man's looking for a wife. All right, so if you want to go buy a property, what's the first thing you do?
First thing is, I guess I'd find a realtor to help me look for it.
You would find a realtor, and you would tell him the location. You would tell him the things that you're looking for. I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Weston. So great.
You got a criteria.
I have a criteria. So he'll take you there, and then you'll look at 10 different houses. And then you say, you know what? I'm going to look between these 3. And then you go down to 1. And when you find that 1, you still don't put the money down until you do your inspection, you do your lien search, you do everything about it, so you find out exactly what you're about to get into. And the house might have some flaws, like it might need a new roof, but you know that going into it. So when I suggest any of the guys on my program or my children that before you go meet somebody, you need to do a fucking background check. I want to know everything about you before I give you my heart and my soul and my time and my energy. I want to make sure that when I do your credit score, you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with it. It might be 600, you might be 500, but I have to know what I'm getting into.
No surprises.
Right. I don't want to go and buy the house and then find out the roof is leaking.
Yeah.
And I didn't sign up for that. So I want to know, I want to do all my due diligence before I get into that relationship. See, and I think most people just get into relationships starting with looks. She's hot, he's good looking, they're funny, you know, and they start hooking up, they're having sex, and, you know, the ass is good, and before you know it, motherfucker's on lockdown, or vice versa.
Yep.
And then the life goes to hell, you know, on a skateboard because they don't have anything really in common, and the people are not solid people, he or her.
A month or two ago, I interviewed Dr. Gary Chapman. He's the author of The 5 Love Languages, has sold millions of books. He has 50 books. A bunch of them hit the New York Times bestseller, I believe. And I asked him if my approach was okay. 22 years ago when I got married, over 22 years ago, to my wife, to me, it was an interview process. And I would go deep in every dinner we'd go to, the movies. I would just ask a lot of what ifs. And I said, is that okay? And he said, absolutely. There's going to be some uncomfortable conversations. And what would you do if we had a child? We got married one day. Obviously, you don't want to say that on the first date. You're going to freak them out.
Right.
But you guys are getting serious. And you say, what if we had a child that had this problem? How would we handle that? Now you got to hear these things. So there are no surprises. What if we had a problem where your mom got sick and had to move in with us? What would we do? Before my wife and I got married, I think we had every conversation you could possibly imagine. We hit all those numbers.
Right.
Or, you know, we checked them all off the list.
Right.
I think that's helpful.
No, you have to go through the interview, you know, and a lot of people, Joel, they go through it, some sort of interview, but they see the red flags and they ignore them.
That's right.
Right? So they'll know, like, I'll give you an example. This guy's like, hey, he's like, I hate going to these conventions because when I go to these conventions, he's like, my wife bothers me all the time. She's calling me. She's texting me. She wants to know what I'm doing. And he goes, it takes all the fun out of it. He's like, I can't go to like a guy's trip. I can't do anything because she's always on top of me. So as the conversation went on, I said, is there something you're not telling me? He's like, well, her and I met at a convention while I was married. Right? So
there it is.
So when you start a relationship with dirt, it never goes away. It's always on the back of your mind. You know what I mean? Well, you're the hot thing now. Well, maybe the next guy's going to be the next hot thing later.
Right.
So I'm not saying things can't change and people can't grow and evolve, but
they got a history there. They got
you got history. You know what I mean? So like you have hesitation. So of course she's going to be the way she is.
When I have a guy that I'm talking to and coaching him, and we talk about a crazy wife or a bad investment, I always ask him, let's roll back 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever it is. Did you see red flags? Right? What you said there, exactly. I use that word a lot, that phrase, red flags. And they stop, they think about it, go, yeah, I ignored them all. I don't know what it is of the excitement. Like you said, the girl looks good, you get action, it's fun.
It's pussy, brother, it's pussy.
That's it. That's what it is. You heard it here, guys. It's that's what it is.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? You get asked, you get confused. You know what I mean? You can't think straight. It's funny because when I talk to people, I tell them, before you make any major decision, bust a nut.
With the girl? Oh, on your own?
No. You know I'm against that. But ideally, bust a nut before.
So you have a clear mind?
You're more calm, cool, and collective, right?
Right.
Because when you got all that testosterone and you know, like, you're going to make bad decisions. Like, if anyone's ever cheated or if anyone's ever done anything bad and they're like, oh, man, what did I do? If they busted a nut before they went to that action, they wouldn't have done it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They got it out of their system.
But once they get out of their system, they're like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe she didn't even have teeth.
Yeah.
You know, like, what happened?
There's something about that. when the hormone, and a woman wouldn't maybe understand this sometimes, but when the hormones are raging for a guy, the ugliest girl can be beautiful, which leads to bad decisions. And if that's just one example, the stupidest business investment could be a flaw, right? It could be a lot of problems.
Anger, anything can lead you to the wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to let it out.
Yeah. So in jiu-jitsu, because you're in that world, I've shared what I know about your story to a lot of guys, especially if they're in South Florida, they're anywhere near you. I always say, go visit Yaniv. You got to meet this guy. You shared with me while we were having Middle Eastern or Israeli food one day, you shared with me some of your story growing up. You were born in Israel?
Yep.
And tell us that. You came here. Tell me how you grew up.
So I'm originally from Tel Aviv, Israel. I was born and raised there till the age of you know what, man? As I get older, I start missing details, to be honest with you. It's crazy.
Write this down.
You know what I mean? I'm like, man, did I come here when I was 11 or was I 12?
I think 12. That's the number that came to my mind.
Yeah, but little things I start forgetting. I don't know, maybe I've been choked too much or I don't know, honestly, been heading to head.
You got 5 kids.
But 11, 12 years old, came to America. And my father was a tank commander. The reason we even moved to America is my mom used to have nightmares that my brothers and we were all very combative as little kids. And she had nightmares that we were all going to die in the military. And we were all thrilled, actually, to go into the military and to serve our country, just like my father. But my mom, she used to cry to my dad and said, we have to move him to the United States. And that's where my grandma was in Brooklyn, New York. And she's like, I want to be with my family, my mom, her family. And either way, convinced my dad, and we moved here. And then when we got to Florida, it was pretty bad, man. We lived in Lauderhill, and there's a part, it's called Deep Side. And I could tell you I was the only Jewish kid there.
It's a rough neighborhood.
Yeah. And I used to fight a lot, and we lived 6 people in one bedroom. Nobody knew English. I only knew one word. The word was bathroom, right? And I remember being in school, anything I needed, I remember I had a runny nose. I remember the story vividly. I had a runny nose, and I needed to blow my nose, but I didn't know how to say anything. Tissue, nothing. So every second I'm like, bathroom, bathroom, bathroom. And they thought I had some diarrhea. They didn't know what the hell was going on. They're like, go, 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 But
fortunately, that can be resolved in the bathroom. There's tissue there, but
right.
It doesn't work for other things you might need.
Yeah, so my parents worked their butt off. My dad was doing construction. My mom was an esthetician, and then raising us and taking care of the home. And we were left, honestly, man, kind of to raise ourselves because my parents were so busy all day trying to learn English and just survive.
Yeah, buy food.
Yeah, basics. So I was hanging out outside all day. Well, outside was all gang members. At the age of 13, I joined Crips, right? I was an IGC, Insane Gangster Crip. Yeah, here's a gang sign.
How'd that work out?
For me, it was cool because I like to fight, right? So it was it kind of was think of a jiu-jitsu club. You go there to train, right? But we just fought on the street. You know what I mean? And it was so stupid. You just fight because the other guy wore a different color. He was Bloods or
different neighborhood.
Yeah, shit like that. But a lot of my friends, they sold drugs. They got tattoos all over themselves. I had friends with tattoos fuck you on their fist, pitchforks on their face, bad things. And I was just going the wrong route. And I remember one day the police showed up to my house, and they went to my mom. And that's a mother's love. They're like, your son's a gang member. And she's like, no, he's not. You guys are so stupid. He's like, he's wearing a fucking blue rag. And she's like, no, it's for fashion,
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, that just shows, how mothers, love their kids no matter what. Where us dads, whenever my kid fucks up, I'm like, your son, I don't take ownership of him when he fucks up.
And who was, one of them must have been really tough, maybe both. And Israelis are really tough by nature. Your dad or your mom, who was the tough one?
They were both very tough. So my parents didn't know much here in America. They didn't know the culture. They didn't understand anything. They didn't even know what gangs were. There's no gangs in Israel, And whenever I would screw up, man, I would get it. My dad used to give me trials, okay? Because the school would call him and say, hey, your son fucked up. He got into a fight, blah, 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 blah. So my dad would sit me down at a table like this, and I would be sitting here, and then my 2 older brothers, one on each side. And I always had short hair, and my dad would rub me here. And he'd go, hey, how was your day? And I was like, I knew it was coming. And then all of a sudden, my dad had thick hands from construction. He just, bah! You'd hit me. And he's like, you piece of shit, you disgracing the family name. But I wasn't.
Your brothers were the jury? Is that what they were
doing?
No,
they were the ones holding me down so I can't run away and get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
So that was pretty rough. And eventually my dad started learning a little bit of English, my mom. So they got jobs. And because before then, my dad was just painting somebody's house, fixing drywall, anything he can to put food on the table. And man, like growing up so poor, brother, like there was times like we didn't even have water. Like I would go to wash my face and you would turn on the hose and like, fuck. So like you need to brush your teeth, right? So I would go outside, walk down the building, and go to the building faucet, right? And I don't know if you remember, they used to lock them. They would take the right?
Only in the neighborhoods that you and I lived in. In the good neighborhoods, they probably didn't have to lock them.
So they would lock them, and then I would have the key. Remember, it was like a butterfly. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then I would open it, and I would brush my teeth, and I was embarrassed because like I didn't want nobody to see me, you know? And from there, I started my first business. I was like, again, 12, 13 years old. I started my first business.
What was it?
So you ever heard of Chuck E. Cheese?
Yep.
All right. So we lived, again, Lauderhill, Oakland Park area over there. So me and my cousin Sal, we used to walk down to Chuck E. Cheese, and we would just hang out there. We had no money. We had no tokens, and we would just kind of hang out there. And then, again, we didn't have to be home because our parents were always working, trying to figure shit out. So one day, the place was closing up, and we saw the teenagers that were working there, the 16-year-olds, throwing bags of tickets into the dumpster. And right away, my entrepreneurship, like I was like, oh, shit.
It's an opportunity.
That's an opportunity. So I jumped in the dumpster, took out the tickets, bags, man, like thousands, folded them all up, put them in rubber bands of 100, right? And then the next day, we'll go to Chuck E. Cheese again. And when I was at Chuck E. Cheese, people would come in and be like, hey, I'll give you 100 tickets for 4 tokens. And they're like, great, because to get 100 tickets, you would have to spend like $3, $4, right? So for 4 tokens, they got a deal. And then I would take those tokens and wait by the token machine. And when people would go buy tokens, I'd say, hey, listen, I'll give you 5 tokens for $1 instead of 4.
Wow.
You know? And then I made the cash that way. And then we would go to BJ's, which was down the street. But we didn't have a BJ's card. And we would ask adults, be like, hey, excuse me, can you buy us this candy? M&M's, Blow Pops, this, that, the other. And they're like, sure. You know, and here's the cash. They would give us the candy. And then we would take the candy. And then we would go to neighborhoods and knock on the door and said that we were from the swim team, you know? And you got these 2 cute kids, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you know, we're selling. And you know, we marked it up. We bought the M&Ms for probably 25 cents a pop back in the days. And we would sell like $2, you know? And then we cashed out like that. That was my first.
That's a tough one. You went from the tickets to the coins to the chocolate. You really worked at it. So when people say, I can't get ahead in this country.
Yes.
I don't know how to make money. What do you think?
I think that obviously the name of my program is No Excuses, right? So I think people don't believe in themselves, you know, and I think people are too comfortable. So, you know, today, like, I know, like, there's, like, being an American now, I know there's, like, Medicaid and Medicare and Section 8, you know, like, I also invest in properties. And you have tenants and the government's paying 70%, 100%. And they still can't get their shit together. So I think sometimes when kind of like a child where he's just fucking babied all the fucking time, that when you say, hey, I need you to go sweep outside. I don't know how to sweep.
Yeah, I can't do that.
You know, and maybe they have rich parents, you know, and the parents have done everything for them. And I'll never forget one of my clients, this is a true story. One day he comes in, he's pissed off. He's like, my fucking son doesn't know how to sweep. I'm like, why are you blaming him, motherfucker? It's all on you.
Teach him.
And he goes, why? I said, because you always had a cleaning lady. People always ask me, like, I make money, bro. I say, how come you don't have a cleaning lady? I'm like, fuck no. My wife's got to clean. My kids got to clean. You know what I mean? They got to fucking, they have to cook. You know, we do Shabbat dinners. If you follow my page, you know, like, it's a religious thing.
Friday night.
Every Friday night. I want my girls over there, you know, cooking, cleaning, helping their mother. The boys got to be straightening everything out. You know, they do all the chores. I was telling our friend here. Not because I can't afford a pool guy or a lawn guy, it's because I want them to work. And even though they don't do as good of a job as a professional, they're learning. And the work ethic and doing things you don't like to do and things that are uncomfortable. And then, hey, Dad, I can't get the lawnmower on. Like, fucking figure it out. You don't mind spending 8 hours on fucking YouTube.
Right.
On bullshit.
Right. It's
so,
there.
So why don't you figure it out?
Yeah.
I don't need to do everything for you.
Yeah.
He's but then they figure it out.
Oh, they're becoming men.
And every time they figure it out, they level up.
Heck yeah.
They level up. They level up.
Right.
They level up.
And to be honest, you are saving a couple shekels.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I would say yes, but I'm not. Bro, my pool, I probably spend like $300 a month on fucking chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
Because the little kid, Chaim, my son, he can never keep that motherfucker blue. You know what I mean?
So you're going up and down, balancing.
All the time, you know, and then it's like,
He's learning, though.
Did you brush the pool? Yeah, I did. Well, did you do this? Did you do that? And he says, well, why don't you just hire a pool guy? I said, no, you don't understand what I'm trying to do for you, not for me. Mm-hmm. And I like my house clean, and I like my pool blue. Yeah. But I'm willing to suffer so he can be somebody one day of his life.
That's right. So a lot of parents I see, because we live in good communities, we see people that maybe they grew up with money or not, but they somehow want to shelter their kids from the experience, right? You and I grew up very similar. I made my first money was on trading cards, chocolates, and from there, right? And I had to suffer. You had to suffer. And I would never want to erase that suffering from my life, because now everything tastes better. Everything I see in my neighborhood is very different from where I grew up, so I enjoy every day. Can you imagine being brought up in a bubble and never showed what it could be like on the other side, right? You wouldn't enjoy it. I got a friend he's the son of a billionaire, and we left a meeting, and when we finished the meeting, we all said what worked, what didn't. And I said, for one, I want to thank our host who has us in this beautiful house in the yard with these yachts in the background, in the water behind. I can't believe it. I never thought as a kid growing up I'd be in meetings like this with people like you guys. And one guy, a friend of mine, says, why are you always so grateful and so appreciative about everything? And I said, dude, the way you grew up and I grew up is very different. Right. So having said that, what do you think about having kids suffer a little bit?
I'm all for it. And I think, honestly, so making money is a blessing and a curse, right? You make money because you want to provide your family a better life. You want to have a better life for yourself. You want to live in a nicer house, drive a nicer car. But then now, subconsciously, you have a baby, and they see you driving a Porsche or a Beamer or a Tesla or whatever the fuck you drive. It's irrelevant. Something nice. Or you live in a nice neighborhood where they open the fridge, and it's full of food, right? And you, as a father, you're like, I'm doing the right thing, you know? And maybe I can put my kid in private school, or the new school year's coming. Let's go buy you all new clothes. Things that we wanted for ourselves because we didn't have. So we give it to our kids, but then we steal from them. We steal from them the desire. We steal from them the drive to go get what we wanted to get. See, I think part of our success is due to not having. And I think when you're born, like I tell my son all the time, I'm like, you could be a better athlete than me. I'm like, you can make a lot more money than me. I was like, you have every advantage over me. I was like, your only downfall is it's all in front of you. You know, it's all there. It's all laid out. Where I had nothing, zero. So to go, like to running the academy, to go from A to C, it takes 5 years, you know, and so on and so on. Well, now you come in as my son. I start you off at freaking Z. You know, I start you off at the top like, yo, here you go. Just don't fuck it up. And you fuck it up. Yeah. Because you didn't go through step by step by step. You didn't start at white belt.
And if that second generation doesn't mess it up, the third one definitely will, right? Because your grandkids aren't going to know what you suffered.
Correct. So that it's hard, man. So the only way, you know, to do it is being hard on your kids. And it takes a lot of discipline. And I learned that I fucked up when I was younger. So from the age of 0 to 18, I was at Disney World one time. And it was for a grad night, all right, for high school. So as I started making money when I was younger and my kids were young, I said, I'm going to buy a Disney yearly pass. And then anytime we had a little break, guys, let's go. We're going to Disney. I'll never fucking forget, bro, is I'm like, guys, let's go. I'm super excited. I'm the one excited. Hey, let's go to Disney. And they're like, again?
Wow.
I was like, again? I'm like, you fucking pieces of shit again, really? I was like, damn, I fucked up. You know what I mean?
Too easy.
Too easy. Bro, like when you told me back in the days I'm going to Disney,
it's amazing.
I was like, really? You got to be kidding me. And then to them was just like, again? So I learned a lot from that, you know, and when we were younger parents, we would take our kids everywhere, New York, California, and you spend money on tickets and hotels and so on. It's like, they don't need any of that shit. Don't give them any of that. Oh, I want to give my kids experience. Fuck your kids. Okay, you want to help them? Fuck them. Let them fucking figure out their own shit. Let them play outside. Let them grow up. Let them scrape up. Let them do what they got to do. And anything you give them, whatever it is, even a jiu-jitsu membership, they have to earn it. Anything I give you, you have to earn. Nothing is given for free. Zero. And people have this misconception, and they think like, just because you're biologically my child, that I have to fucking like you. I don't have to like you. If you're a piece of shit, I'm not gonna like you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm obligated to you until you're 18 here in the United States. But truly, you know, like, I don't owe you shit. You know what I mean? I brought you to this world. I got to give you the basic foods, you know, basic shelter, and basic clothing. The rest is up to you. Now, I can give you more, but you got to earn it.
Yeah.
You got to earn it with good attitude, good character, good grades, good whatever it is that we're looking for.
Yeah, be a good person. When I was 6 years old, my dad and mom, we had only been in the country 2 years, and they made a huge sacrifice and took us to Disneyland because I grew up in California. And a few years later, I must have been 9 years old, I said to my dad, Dad, when can we go to Disney? And he looked at me with a straight face and said, we already went.
Right.
And I remember being a kid and going, oh, yeah, we already went. I guess that's it. We
Right.
go once. I accepted that because we were poor. But I saw, and fortunately for me, I grew up in a poor neighborhood, so nobody was going to Disney.
Correct.
Most of my friends hadn't gone. So I felt privileged that I went once. But what a difference from those kids that get to go every other weekend or however often they're going.
And again, as parents, we think we're doing the right thing, but we're killing our kids.
Yeah.
You know, we're killing our kids. We're killing our kids in every single way, from buying them too much shit, from loving them too much, from over nurturing them. You know, like what about talking to them? You know, like my dad never talked to me. You know, like he just showed the way. He woke up early. He worked all day. He beat my ass when I fucked up. And then when he wanted to show any kind of love, he would give me a kiss on the forehead, and that's it.
What would have happened if your dad wouldn't have been in the picture?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. I think I would be in jail or dead.
Did you ever go to jail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Multiple times. When I was young, remember I told you I was in gangs. So when I was 17, I got locked up. My friend broke into a car, and he didn't even tell me he was breaking into the car. And all of a sudden, he jumps into my car.
You're the getaway driver.
Bro, I'm just sitting there, and he saw a car next to him, and the car had a purse. And he fucking broke the window without saying anything, and took the purse, and he goes, go, 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 go. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm going, and he goes through this purse. There's nothing in it besides an ID card and a Blockbuster card. Fucking Blockbuster card. I'm like, holy shit.
With that.
So I'm like, bro, get the shit out of my car. So we pull up behind like one of the shopping centers, and I was like, go throw the shit out. So as he goes to throw out, you know how like dumpsters have like no dumping signs? It just happened, and it's a blessing from the skies that it happened, that when he was dumping it, the police officer was there.
Wow.
And he goes, what are you guys doing? And, you know, we looked like hoodlums, and we're like, nothing. You know, we're just throwing away some food. And then he pulled over, and he saw that there was a purse. And then he called it in, and there was a break-in, you know, into a car and blah, blah, blah. And we got locked up, and they took us to juvie. And the police officer's like, listen, we know you didn't do it. We know he did it. You know, I'm not going to mention his name. We know he did it. And all you have to do is tell us that he did it, and we're going to let you go. And now they had no proof that we did anything besides the purse was there, but they don't know. It might have been already in the dumpster.
Yeah.
So I grew up knowing not to snitch. You don't fucking snitch. And you know what? You don't want to be in shit, don't hang around shit people. But since I did hang around shit people, you know what I mean? This was my consequence.
And was that enough, or did you not learn your lesson?
Of what? About what?
Staying out of trouble?
Well, no, I still got in trouble. That was just one incident. So anyway, they didn't have anything on us. So what the police officer did, he took the Blockbuster card, right? He put it in a Ziploc, and he goes, "Oh, look what we found in your car."
Oh.
We knew it wasn't in the car because we threw it out.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna listen to? Some hoodlums or the police officer? And that was it. But you know what? I kept my street credit.
Yeah.
You know,
that other guy didn't talk either then.
He didn't talk either. So then when I was talking about having a father, as they let me out of the juvie hall, and I walked out, I get chills telling you the story because my dad, our dog had a chain, and the chain was like chain link, small one. And soon as the door opened, he swung that fucking thing on me.
Ooh.
And chased me down the parking lot of the jail.
You probably prefer to be in the jail.
And it's like, you piece of shit, low life, you know, like, I'll fucking kill you. And my dad had a Buick, old school, and he goes, sit down in the car, and I'm like, no, I want to sit in the back like I'm in a police car. And the whole ride home, he's just whooping on me, right? And so that was my first encounter with the law. And then after that was just getting arrested. I got arrested another time for fighting. And I spent some time in the county for that. We could talk about that if you want.
What after you did some stupid things like this, what was the turnaround point? When was it enough? You're a good guy now. What happened?
So I was never a bad guy. I was never like, I didn't steal. I didn't rape. I didn't kill. I didn't cheat. I just had, like, violence. I had all this frustration. I was broke. You know, my parents were always fighting over money. We never had a lot of food. You know, like I said, sometimes there was no electricity in the house, no water. You know, you get angry inside, brother. And, like, there was no mentors. There was no big brothers. Nobody really knew anything. You know, like, everyone was just trying to figure shit out, like straight up immigrants, you know, and you become a product of your surroundings. So if my parents had money and I said, hey, this kid has a lot of physical energy, let's put him into jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? I would have been fucking 10-time world champion. I could tell you that. But instead, I was left on the street.
Yeah, go play outside.
Go play outside. And they didn't do it on purpose, like,
Right,
bad.
that's all they could do.
Right. You know, and then you hang around other kids that also in the same boat or, you know, don't have dads. A lot of those guys didn't have dads. And you just end up getting in fucking trouble.
Outside of your parents, did you have anyone growing up, whether it's on TV or down the street, a teacher? Did you have ever anyone that you could say, yeah, you know, I kind of like how they're doing stuff, and maybe that planted a little seed in your mind?
I only looked up to gangsters.
Wow.
Yeah. So then later on, you know, so I went to play college football. I went to play college football in California, College of San Mateo. I played middle linebacker. I came down here for a vacation. I was hanging out with a bunch of buddies downtown Fort Lauderdale. A bunch of guys were walking this way. We were walking this way. And one of my buddies bumped into another guy. Now, these guys that I'm hanging with, they're not gang members. I dropped the gang life when I went to college. And these two guys start arguing, my friend and some guy. And as they start arguing, all of a sudden they start throwing fists. So now you got this group and our group scrapping. So this big guy, I remember, like 6'5", 6'6", he swings at me. My whole life I've been fighting. So I move and I lay this motherfucker out. And anyways, police come and everyone starts running. I'm like, fuck that, I'm not running. He swung at me first. He was laid out. Police goes, he's down, you're up, you're going to jail. They charged me with a 2nd-degree felony. Now, I still didn't have my residence. I just only had my
green card.
I only had my green card.
So you could get deported with a felony.
They offer you 2 to 15 years. Okay, that's what they want to give you, right? Aggravated battery, and I was like, fuck, man. I was like, I fucked up, and it was just a stupid street fight. Should have fucking ran, but it was good that I didn't run because, again, only later on you realize all your downfalls. You know, actually, at least for me, they've all propelled me forward. Yep. So as that happened, I spent 3 days in a county, and I got a funny story for the listeners. So I'm Jewish. I don't eat pork, right? So when you're in the county, all you get is fucking ham and cheese sandwiches, right?
No kosher menu there.
There's no kosher
no rabbi
menu.
coming in.
And you got ham and cheese sandwiches. You got a little milk, a little cookie. And I'm like, fuck, I can't eat. You know what I mean? I can't eat this shit. So I go up to the guard. I'm like, yo, I can't eat this, bro. I'm Jewish. He goes, I don't give a fuck. He goes, you don't get kosher meals until you go to prison, you know? So, like, you have to wait for, like, your court date and all this bullshit. And I'm like, I ain't going to fucking prison. Are you crazy? So I was like, I have to find a solution, you know, like, so I go up to my cellmate and I go, listen, I'm going to give you all the ham and you're going to give me all the cheese, all right? So for fucking 3 days, I had fucking cheese sandwiches. So that's a kind of funny story.
It worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out.
But anyways, I got out from there, and then I lost my scholarship. And so I had to, because when you're on bail, you can't leave. You cannot leave the county. So
And you were here on break from San Mateo.
yeah, exactly. And so I couldn't go back. So then I was like, okay, what do I do? Well, the only thing I could do is play football, work out, fight, and be a gangster. That's the only things I knew and like. And I don't know if you remember, but like in 1999, 2000, FAU was starting a football team.
Yeah.
So I met with Coach Schlangenberger,
Oh, yeah.
and he's like, listen, he goes, right now we're not giving scholarships because it's the first year, but you can come redshirt. So, but that's going to start next year, the program. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to FAU. So meanwhile,
It's Florida Atlantic University in South Florida.
yeah. So meanwhile, I was like, okay, I need to go to school to get in. So I went to BCC, and I started playing semi-pro football. And then this is where my life started turning around. I started playing semi-pro football. And when you play semi-pro, everybody's for themselves. I played for a team called Florida Titans. Everybody's for themselves. Nobody. It's not like a real team, right? Like everyone's trying to make the best
Highlights.
so they can go on to whatever.
Sure.
College, or back then there was arena ball, or in the NFL. Yeah. And my own teammate took my knee out. And again, the story of heart was, you know what Oklahomas are? The drill?
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, but I remember doing that. I played football.
Right, so Oklahoma's, you have the running back, you have the linebacker, you have the O-line, and you have the D-line, right? So coach goes, O-line, D-line, get in. And one of each goes. And then, running back, linebacker, get in. And you get in. And the running back gets the ball, and, they go at it, and then you got to try to tackle him. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, so we used to have this one O-line that every motherfucker was scared of. He's fucking huge. I don't know, like almost 7 foot, 300-400 pounds, all gold teeth. And I already did my drill. And then the coach is like, the big guy got in there, and the coach is like, D-line, get in there. And they're all hesitating. I'm like, look at these pussy-ass motherfuckers. Now, you got to remember, bro, like coming from a street mentality, like you don't back down on nobody. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. I'll get down. I got down in a 3-point stance, and I probably weighed 220 at that time. This guy is like, again, almost 400 pounds, and he buries me. And as he buries me to the ground, my knee fucking pops, right? And as he buries me, he's like fucking like shoves my head into the grass, Like, who the fuck are you stepping up to me, I was stupid. I shouldn't have done that.
Was that the end of football?
That was the end of football. I remember I was laying there. I grabbed the grass, and I was crying, and I was like, why? Because now I can't go. I fucked up my opportunity at FAU. So, anyways, my knee heals up. I never had surgery for it at that time. And I start hanging around the wrong crowd again. But this time, not gang members, but more like wise guys. And these were like people were all about making money. It wasn't stupid shit like, hey, let's go fight. Well, they knew I was a fighter. They knew I was a tough kid. And so they hired me. And they hired me to collections. So, Joe Schmo owes you money, and you call Yaniv, and Yaniv goes gets your money. And the funny thing is, when you go to collect, people think like you got to beat people's asses.
No, you just got to send a message.
When you get there, people, they change their mind. All of a sudden, they don't have the fucking money. All of a sudden, you send the collector, and they're like, they find the money somehow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you sent the right message.
But anyways, so remember, we were still poor. So whenever I had money, I would put money in an envelope, and I would give to my dad. And my dad, and I moved out. I lived by the beach. Bro, I was fucking jacked, tan. I had all the finest girls you could think of, pinky ring, Rolex, at 22 years old, okay?
This is already a lifetime. You were only 22?
Only 22.
Wow.
Bro, I had the fucking Expedition with the 22-inch rims. Back in the days, 22s were fucking 6 stacks, wow. Right? Today you can get them for like a G.
Right.
Anyways, so my dad's like, I don't know what you're doing. He goes, but whatever you're doing, you're going to end up dead or in prison. And my dad, man, like, he was the world to me. Like I said, he didn't talk to me too much. Like he didn't have all these deep conversations, philosophies. It was really just straight to the point. And he said, Yaniv, if you end up dead or in prison, you're going to ruin everything I've ever worked for. All this sacrifice, coming to this country, because we had a good life in Israel. He's like, it's all going to go to waste. Because my young son, is in jail or in prison. And I said, Dad, I don't know what to do. He says, well, do something you love. I said, well, the only thing I love to do is work out, play football, and fight. He goes, well, you can't play football anymore. Why don't you teach people how to work out and fight? And I never thought to be a coach. And the gym that I was working out at, I went up to the head trainer there, and I said, hey, what's it going to take to be a trainer? And the guy loved me. He's like, yo, I'll show you the ropes, blah, blah, blah. And I dropped everything, man. I dropped my condo. I took off the pinky ring. I got rid of the Rolex. I got rid of everything. I moved back to my parents' house. I put my head down, and I started working at the gym from 5 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night every day. And the thing is, the gym would only pay you for 20 hours minimum wage. The rest, you had to figure it out yourself. You had to pick up clients.
Get clients.
So it was $7 an hour minus taxes. And at the beginning, you don't have any clients, so like your paycheck's like $100 for a week. It's crazy. And but believe it or not, Joel, that $100 meant more to me than when I was making $500 a day cash.
Yeah.
Right? Because like
doing it the right way.
There's something goes for like when you sweat for your money. When you work for your money, like it's different than when you just, again, like going back to the kids, just hand it to you.
Yep.
And from there, I started picking up clients one after the other. And the funny thing about this organization, they wouldn't pay you higher than $7 an hour back in the days unless you had their accreditation. So to get their accreditation, you had to fly to Colorado, do their course, a weekend course, 3 days, and then you pass the test, and then they'll give you the raise. Now you're making like $15, $18, $20 an hour. So they send me to Colorado, and they forget my paperwork. Now you got to understand, I'm going from making $500 a day cash, chilling, to fucking now working all day long, picking up weights, fixing them in the gym, like it was crazy. And then it was another test for me. It's like, hey, now you have to wait for the next course 3 months from now. To work another 3 months. And
you were in Colorado or no?
I was in Colorado.
Damn.
I'm there. I get there, and they're like, we don't have your paperwork. Sorry, you can't take the class. I'm like, you kidding? They're like, nope. We'll send you back home.
It sounds like the military or any other government. Wow.
Right. And they sent me back home, and I was ready to quit again. I was ready to jump right back where I started. And I didn't quit. I stayed with it. Finally, next time they sent me to St. Louis. I took the course, I passed it, and then I remember I went straight to $18 an hour. From 18 to 21, 20, 23, 25, 28, and then they offered me a fitness manager position. $75,000 a year, full benefits. This is 2003. Wow. So I told my parents, I was like, I can't work here anymore. They're like, why, are you crazy? Like, you got to understand, from immigrants, benefits, insurance, salary.
Stable job.
Like, I'm a king.
Yeah.
Right? And I go, I can't work at this place. They said, why? I said, they're all about the money. They never asked me, like, if I'm training you, like, how's Joel doing? The only thing that I ever got from the managers was, is going to Joel re-up? Is Johnny going to sign up? That's all they cared about was the numbers. And that's not what I did it. I did it because that was my passion. So instead of taking the job, I quit. I took out a loan from my credit cards, okay, for $25,000, and I opened up the first gym, Crave Fitness Inc.
Was that weightlifting? That's not jiu-jitsu.
It wasn't jiu-jitsu. It was weightlifting and self-defense. And
learn to fight from a gangster.
Yeah, it's funny because there was a private studio, and the windows were blacked out, and I had all the small TVs, the little tube TVs on every corner, and every one of them played a different gangster movie. Goodfellas, Casino, whatever. And then all the pictures on the walls were like New York and like different gangster pictures and stuff. And
it's on brand.
Yeah, it was really cool. And from there, we started moving forward.
And then you get into jiu-jitsu. How do you get into, and like we said before, you're a third-degree black belt. I've rolled with you. It's like, what are those construction trucks where they roll you flat in the street? That's what it feels like. How do you get into coaching? It's all guys that you coach, right?
Men and women.
Men and women.
Men and women.
So how do you get into that? And what are you helping them do?
So before we get into that program, when you're doing private training, So first thing, when someone hires a trainer, usually that person is a little bit more affluent. They have some money. They're successful professionals, business people. So I would just listen to all these people. One guy's a real estate, one guy's construction, one guy's a doctor. And I would just listen and learn. I would always shut the fuck up and just listen and listen and listen and listen. And then they would also tell me all their problems. Here's my problem with my kid. You know, like, because you become really good friends with the people you coach. And I started taking notes. Okay, well, this guy raised his kid this way. He had a bad outcome. This guy also raised his kid that way. He had a bad outcome. Okay, this one did this. Kid came out better. And I would take notes. And brother, I became like a fucking psychologist, you know, and like hands-on. Like, you didn't learn this shit in school. Like, you saw real, like, you didn't just read a book.
Yep.
I saw what works and what didn't work. Guys, I would have guys send me their wives, right? Guys that I didn't know. Their wives would come say, I want to train with you. 12 sessions in, the women want to have an affair with me. I'm saying to myself, bro, your husband just wrote me a check for however many thousands of dollars, right? And you want to go out to coffee with me, or you want to do this, you want to do that. And it would blow my mind. And right away, I would get mad at the woman. Like, you know, she's no good, she can't be trusted, da-da-da. But as I got older, I realized, well, what's he doing? Is he ever home? Not to justify her behavior. I started really learning human behavior. Why and where and what people do, what drives them to do what they do. Then going into the martial arts. Why is this guy tapping? You know, you start realizing people have ego. Some people don't have ego. Some people have excuses. Some people don't. Some people are prideful. Some people are not. And you just start seeing, you just absorb everybody. Because at the beginning, you always want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, you know, hey, my arm hurts. But then you realize he's always complaining about something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not his arm. It's his mind. So once, and this is over 20 years of learning and helping people and seeing different situations and guiding people. And, you know, a lot of these people had a lot of different experiences, more experiences than me, but I always had a positive mindset. So whatever they were going through, I always would give them the best advice I can to keep pushing forward.
You called me out one time when we were rolling, and that morning I did the morning class of jiu-jitsu. Then I lifted weights around midday, and then I went to your very tough class in the evening. And I think I was rolling with you, or maybe I was rolling with someone else, and you heard me say, man, I'm really tired today. And you called me out on that. And I think it was, and I appreciate that. I value that. You know, I was sending myself a signal to my own brain that, hey, I'm tired, so I'm going to lower my level.
Correct.
And it's an excuse.
Correct. So what happens is that we believe our own bullshit, and we build our own cases. You know, we build cases against our loved ones. We build cases against our businesses. I got this one guy trained. The guy was a killer in business. But his child, when I say child, 25-year-old, he's always giving them excuses. Oh, times have changed. I'm like, bro, all you do is give fucking excuses. The kid has no chance of getting better. You know, so when I'm dealing with anybody, I see their story. And then if I can get them to admit that what they're doing is an excuse, it's bullshit. You know, it's a distraction. It's a way to evade whatever needs to happen, that conversation you got to have with your wife, the next match, whatever it is. If I can get them to come clean with themselves, I can really help them grow and alter their life forever. You know, like, people really look up to me, bro, because I live my life 100. Like, this other guy I train. Man, I love blowjobs, he tells me. But I haven't had one in 30 years. I'm talking about grown men. Successful, so why not? He goes, oh, those days are over. So why? Who says just because you're fucking married that you can't get a fucking blowjob? You know what I mean? What kind of lame-ass gay shit is that? Right? Like, I don't accept that. You know, like, bro, like, for me, I want to be intimate with my wife every day. I'll be intimate with her every day. Twice a day, people look at me like, huh? We have sex once every 2 weeks. I'm like, because you're fucking lame, and then you lowered your standard.
Yeah, you accepted that.
Right? So it goes two things. Number one, let's just say you're a fat fuck. You know? Like, why the fuck would your wife want to sleep with you?
Yeah, you're gross.
You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Or she's disgusting. Like, you don't want to sleep with her. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't have the fucking heart, the man or woman, whoever, don't have the heart to say what needs to be said, to have that hard conversation, and to put it on the line. Say, hey, this is what it is. Now, I'm telling you this because I love you and I care for you, and I would like for you to level the fuck up.
Yeah, and I want to be with you forever, and
Right.
this is the way we got to do it.
You know what I mean? And if you don't, and then people start going astray, not that it's the right thing, but you understand that there's a buildup. Nothing just happens over one day. You know what I mean?
It's a bunch of little things.
It's a bunch of little things, and then eventually, people go left or right. And the reason they go left and right is because they didn't have these conversations. We got to have these conversations with our business partners, with our spouses, with everybody, daily, because who you were when we came here an hour ago and who you are today, right now, is different. Your cells and your body have already changed. We're constantly evolving. I might have told you something. It's in your head now. You're like, And now you're a different human. You're pivoting a little bit. 1 degree, 2, 10, depends how serious it is. So
yeah, you and I went to a lunch for an hour, and I left there with a motorcycle license. I went and took the class because you pushed me to do it.
I was actually going to ask you about that.
I've been test riding, but I haven't bought one yet. But I will. Last weekend, I test rode a few Harleys.
Yeah.
All right. So now, this is fascinating stuff. I love all of this. You're one of those guys that I really look up to, and I don't have a lot of those. There's probably 10
Thank you, brother.
that I look up to at this level. So tell me, so I know you train people in jiu-jitsu, you get people really fit, and you do something really special when jiu-jitsu's over. I think all academies should do it, but not all academies have a Yaniv Rosenberg there.
Right.
The guys and the girls, everybody sits around in a circle, and you kind of give a lesson of the day, it seems like, right? I've trained with
Right.
you a couple times, and I saw that, and I thought it was beautiful, because one time you talked about a tree in your yard that you had to cut out, and you tied it to life. Right. Another time you talked about doing the right thing. There's some rules on the wall in your academy. Cut your nails. Don't be smelly when you come here. Wash your gi. Some protocols that I wasn't aware of. Actually, afterwards, I went and apologized to you. I go, look, I don't know too much about jiu-jitsu, and I've never seen this in a gym, but it's very traditional. It's cool. It's get the professor's attention before you walk on the mat. So I learned a bunch of cool stuff like that from you. But how do you how did you go from what you're doing, and now this is off the mats,
right.
What you're doing here, right? You're coaching people in their life.
Right.
How'd you make that transition? But you're still doing the jiu-jitsu.
So I just want to bring something up about the jiu-jitsu that's very important. To be able to have a mat chat with anybody and to actually be able to be a professor. See, a martial artist is not just supposed to be a fighter, because you can take somebody like Kimbo Slice or me when I was a street fighter, and I'm not going to bring no value to the table besides teaching you how to knock somebody out. To be a martial artist, that's why, bro, I don't really like the whole no-gi scene. Motherfuckers wearing purple and blue and green, and and even the whole jiu-jitsu scene, honestly, I'm not big about it. You never catch me at open mats. I'm not trying to be friendly with everybody. I don't give a fuck, bro. I stay in my own lane. Because people coming into class high, you got these schools that they encourage people smoke. The professors smoking weed, it's a fucking shit show, honestly. So when a motherfucker comes to learn from me, he's not just learning jiu-jitsu. He's coming there to learn about life. I take it as my profession, as my job, is that when you walk into my dojo, is to make you a better man, woman, and it's to give you all the best advice and lessons I can. And I've lost a lot of students, man. I've lost a lot of students.
Your way of doing it is not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, and I push people. And people tell he's like, why you always on me? I'm on you, bro. I'm like, because you fucking come to class high every day. I'm like, I'm on you because your wife is going to leave you. I'm on you because you're not there for your fucking kid. Now, you might say, well, it's not your business. I came here for jiu-jitsu. But that's just who I am.
Yeah, you're doing them a favor.
And I'm trying to help them out because I want them to be successful in life. And then that's truly what makes me happy is when I see other people win. Yeah. You have people, bro, they have a hard time even pressing fucking like on your thing. It kills them. It's
their ego.
Bro, press like, press love, put a comment. When people are calling you out and they're calling you out from a good place, don't take it to the heart. Take it as a blessing. There's actually somebody there caring for me. We talked when I was younger. I had nobody to tell me anything. I tell my wife all the time, if I had a Yaniv Rosenberg when I was a kid, not that I would just be a gazillionaire and a 10-time world champion, I might have fucking even 20 kids.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll just be on a whole nother level. But nobody had nobody. You know?
Yeah.
So this program started, the No Excuses program started was I had a student that moved to California. And he asked me, he says, man, I wish that you had a location in California. But now, just so much for jiu-jitsu, but just like for you to be in my life, you know, like to hear your advice. He goes, what you've taught me is priceless. And he's like, you ever thought about taking anything online? And I was like, you know, like I like to be in person, shake hands, make contact. And that's what started the fire in my head. I said, okay, well, because I've always life coached people. I've always did private lessons. I've always guided people, stayed after class and talked to people for hours for free, you know? And I published a book in 2012. It's called Crave, The Ultimate Guide to Life and Fitness. Long story short, so I've always been in this game, but then I said, you know what? Let me take it worldwide with this. So I came up with the program. I said, what do I want to call it? I said, well, I don't like excuses, so let me just call it No Excuses, just to the point.
Perfect.
And so I create people workout programs. I create people nutrition plans, and then I have a program that's called All In, where you actually get to sit and talk with me on Zoom, and I talk to you about life. So I send you questionnaires, and I find out everything about you. A lot of personal shit, a lot of personal things, because I can't help you unless I really know you.
Yeah, surface doesn't work.
You know what I mean?
Surface level.
So like even like, do you jerk off? People are like, oh. I need to know, because if you tell me, hey man, I'm fucking jerking off 3 times a day, I know we got a certain problem. I know you have a void. I know there's things going on in your life. You know, like there's problems between your wife. There's many issues. So I ask you all these questionnaires, and I ask you to be honest, and then I review it, and then we get on a call, and then we go question by question. Do you believe in God? Yes. Well, why? Okay, tell me a little bit about it. Are you religious? Are you not? Because I think it all plays effect into every part of your life. I think believing in God has substance. You know, if you believe in Jesus and I believe just in God because I'm Jewish, that's fine. But as long as you have a belief, right, and it's grounding. You know, so many different questions, and then after I get it, and then I get it, I create you the program, and then we stay connected throughout the month on chat, and once a month I do a Zoom call with you.
How long is this program?
So
90 days?
So the program itself, the challenge journal is 90 days, but the program itself is really ongoing. Because to be honest, Joel, you know, like anything you want in your life, you want it to be good, it has to be ongoing. Now it might come, thank you, brother. It might come to a point where you don't need my guidance at that level. Okay, so then it's kind of like a child's like, all right, you're ready. Mm-hmm. You know, go. You got your marriage straight. You got your body right. You're eating right. You drop the vices. You're not drinking. You're not smoking. You're not this. You're not that. Okay, great. Boom, go. And then slowly I can add. So like I'll tell people, like, I don't want you drinking. Well, so you drink. So, well, I didn't drink from age 0 to age 40. 0.
Wow.
Never done a drug. Never smoked a cigarette. Nothing. So why do you drink now? Because I realized I've been the most serious motherfucker my whole life. Everything was to be on point. I need a drink just to go to your level. You understand? Just to be like at a normal level, because I'm so focused with everything. Yeah. My wife's like, please give him a drink. Give him a drink. You know, it's just to like take the edge off a little bit, right? And I do it I'll have one, but I'm in total control. Maybe 2 maximum. I've never been drunk in my life. So, but if someone's drinking all the time, you need to stop drinking. Yeah, it has control of you.
Yep.
Right? So whatever it is, I want you to be in control of yourself. I want you to have good habits. I want you to be disciplined. I want you to be on a daily routine. Once you do that, and that's where this challenge, if you open that journal, please.
90 days. And put the number here, put the date.
Right.
So we got a checklist of things they got to do.
We have daily. Let me show you. All right. So start here. Real quick. All right. So it starts with the month. Mm-hmm. Right? So you plan out your month, and I break it down. I break it down into monthly tasks. I take it relationship task, business task, and then we go into the weekly things you need to do. This is something that going back to the month that comes from you, by the way. Once a month, write a handwritten letter and mail it. Brother, when you came to my gym and you sent me that postcard, I cannot tell you how happy I was.
Nice.
It was just like, and my wife's like, oh my gosh, And it's like, love this guy.
It's a easy thing to do that has an impact on people.
Huge.
Why not spend a few minutes doing that?
Huge impact.
And I'll tell you one thing, maybe share with the folks. I make it easy on myself. I set myself up for success. I never want to have excuses. So my postcards, my envelopes, my stamps are in my closet, in my office, and in my car.
Right.
So that we have a great conversation. I could go sit in my car, write it real quick, put it in the mail today. You'll get it tomorrow. If we're local.
On the spot.
You'll get it the next day. So action quickly, right?
I love it. So you have your monthly task, your weekly task, and then you have your daily task. So daily task, waking up in the morning, fix your bed. Something as simple as fixing your fucking bed. It's huge.
Yeah.
Right?
There's that talk by the Admiral in the Navy who gave that talk about you
gave
feel
that
like a win right off the beginning of the day.
Brother, what about brushing your teeth? Something simple. You think every motherfucker brushes their teeth? They don't. Seriously. We were talking about you being grateful. So people always ask me, like, Yaniv, you're always smiling, right? Like when I'm not giving my talks, I'm always smiling. When I give my talks, I'm very serious. So if you look, I have a daily affirmation, and I'll read it. The morning affirmation. God, thank you for another day. Thank you for the ability to see, feel, hear, smell, and taste. I am grateful for everything that I have, and I will work hard and smart for all the things I want to have. I will make no excuses. I will find solutions to all my obstacles and do so with a positive attitude and grace. Today is going to be an amazing day, filled with opportunities to learn and grow from. I will conquer my day and not drift, because today could be my last day. If today is my last day, I will know that I gave it my best and didn't take anyone or anything for granted. Let's fucking go.
And this is every day?
Every fucking day you read this.
When you do that every day, you're going to start believing it after a few times, hopefully.
So
start living that way.
When I talk to clients, brother, and they tell me that they're depressed, I said, that's because your mind's fucked up. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, you're ungrateful. I said, why am I ungrateful? I said, when's the last time you opened your eyes and you're like, wow, I can see? Looked at your hands and you're like, I can feel. Mm-hmm. Open your mouth, I can talk, I can taste, I can smell, I can touch, I can walk. If we start counting your blessings to the fucking, whoever's listening out there, if we can start counting your blessings, the simple things, you'll see that you're the richest man in the world. Because if I give you $100 million right now and 10 of the finest women, okay, and give you a gazillion followers on whatever fucking social media you want, and take away your eyes, would you trade it? No. Would you trade it for being able to walk? No. So how come you're the richest man in the world? See, when you wake up in the morning and realize that you have all these gifts, how can you be sad? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I built a relationship after interviewing him over the last few months. Israel Del Toro, he's a war hero. He got blown up in Afghanistan, 150 surgeries, in a coma for 4 months. No, faces melted, no ears, no fingers. He came to my house and spent 3 or 4 days a couple weekends ago. My wife and I went to Colorado Springs for his son's graduation from college. So I've gotten to see him in different environments. I got him to talk to an entrepreneur group, and we spent a lot of time together lately. That's the happiest guy. He doesn't have fingers in one hand, and the other hand he's got some nubs, and he's had so many surgeries. He'll overheat because he can't sweat properly, right? He's got a lot of problems. Happiest guy you'll meet.
Right.
And obviously he went through some down, right? All those 150 surgeries, all those problems. But how can that guy be happy? And us, who've got, for the most part, everything working, it's all in our head. And I think that's fantastic to have something that we're repeating to ourselves, and you're going to start believing it after a little while. It's a reminder every day.
So, I have my wallet on me? Yeah, I do. I showed you my coin last time we hung out, right?
Maybe.
When we went to
restaurant?
We went to the restaurant. Yeah, man, I'm sweating balls over here. I don't know what's going on. Hold on 1 second.
It's all that muscle. Muscle heats up.
So I carry this coin, guys. Okay, and the coin says, I look at it every day. It's right in front of my wallet, and it says Memento Mori. And Memento Mori means remember that you will die. 99% of motherfuckers that you will meet never want to talk about death. They'll do everything to avoid talking about it. I love talking about death. Death is one of my favorite subjects. So, wow, what are you, like, sick? I'm like, no, man, the opposite. Death reminds me to be a good dad. Death reminds me to eat well. Death reminds me to live my life. Death reminds me that tomorrow might not be here. So every fucking day, I live 100. Bro, like, I got a beef with my old lady. I put that shit right to the table. Boom.
Got to solve it.
You know? And it's like, oh, I thought we're good. I said, good's the enemy of great. I don't want to be fucking good. I want great. Good is for fucking average motherfuckers. Right? And then when we get to great, I want to be excellent. And when we get to excellent, I want to be exceptional. I'm always looking to move the fuck forward. Right? That's because I know death is coming. It's coming for all of us. So every day, love everybody that you love. Tell them how you feel. Don't hold shit back. Do what you want. Work the job that you want. You know, be with the woman that you want. You know, like, bro, I train some guys, you know, they've been with their wives 20 years, 30 years, and, like, basically a jail sentence. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to stay here forever. Why? It's not that I believe in divorce. I believe on fix it or unfix it. But don't just let status quo
stay right there.
Is the worst thing you could ever do for your life. Yep. You know?
Settling.
So,
you know,
brother.
there's a word in Spanish, the word for wife is esposa. That's also literally, there's no other word that I know of for handcuffs. It's the same word. And some guys live that way, that their wife is their handcuffs. They can't get ahead. They're stuck.
Or vice versa, right? Like,
yeah, vice versa. I work with guys, so that's what I reference. But yeah, absolutely. It could be the other way.
And then on the flip side, it says momento vivere, which means remember to live. So remember you're going to die.
You're going to die.
But don't forget to live. Yeah. So that's why I ride my motorcycle. That's why I do everything, bro. Like, oh, you ride a motorcycle without a helmet? I was like, bro, I don't think about death doesn't stop me from living. You know, it motivates me to
live
things. More. The opposite. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do even more now. Yeah. Because I know that day is coming. Well, you think that day is never coming, and then when that day comes, God forbid you get sick or whatever, now you're like, I want more time. I've been around a lot of people who died. And it's like, don't wait to live. Don't wait to fall in love. Don't wait to bring up that conversation that needs to be brought up. Yeah. You know, whatever it is.
Have that conversation. Yaniv, thank you so much, man. Your message is going to resound with the guys that I work with. This is the real deal. Yaniv is the real deal. Like I said, he's somebody I look up to you tremendously.
Thank you, my
brother. And those people that work with you who get to be coached by you are fortunate because this is your life. This is how you live. This isn't those fake guys who tell you to be healthy, but they're not healthy, who tell you to have a good marriage, but they don't have a good marriage. I've been in jiu-jitsu with you, with your son. The 14. And man, he looks up to you. Yeah. The way you talk and he's looking at you and the way he starts warming up. And I look at those things because I appreciate that. And just seeing that that's the real deal. It's not a fake. There's nothing fake about you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for being in my life. The guys in the Brotherhood who are going to the retreat in October are going to be trained by you one morning. I can't wait because what I want to do in my life is every good pillar of my life, I want to share it with my guys. And so those guys are going to be in for a treat. When they
put them through the tractor.
Oh, it's going to be rough. But it is October. It's late October, so hopefully it will be a little cooler. And we'll bring gallons of water for them. So we'll have them ready.
Brother, man, thank you so much for having me. The feeling is mutual, man. You know, like I don't look up to a lot of men. You're one person, bro,
appreciate it.
You're on point, bro. And, you know, it's funny, you know, like a lot of guys when they meet another guy who might be on point, they want to keep him, like, away. Like, they don't tell their wives about him. They're like, bro, like, I bring you up all the time. Like, my wife loves you. It's like, man, Joel's on point. You know, read your book. You know, like.
And we got to get together because I show my wife stuff about you all the time. And I always preface it with, like, all right, he's rough, okay? Listen to what he says, though. Look at how good this is. And it's, hey, you motherfucker. but it's good. And people need that. They need that slap in the face.
Someone asked me, why do I curse so much? Is because I feel like everyone's been fucking babied. Like when you talk to, like you go to a psychologist, like, Johnny, you know, you need to do this and that. Like he's not listening. Mm-hmm. You know, like sometimes you just got to get fucking smacked. Like,
wake him up.
Wake up, motherfucker. Your life is passing you by.
Yep.
So I feel like when I curse, like maybe.
You put people through a verbal boot camp, and I think you're absolutely right. It's needed. All right, Yaniv, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much, brother. USA.